Hello everyone. So you saw that video that I posted of myself and the damage that I did to some of the damage that I did to the property. I showed you the other stuff that I did in one of my other videos that I made whilst my emotions were still being heightened by the radio frequencies. I mean, you can tell the difference between when my emotions are augmented by the radio frequencies and when they're not. You can tell in my body language, you can tell in everything that's going on with me that this is what I am like normally, and those videos are what I am like with those weapons augmented, or with those radio frequencies augmented. Now, I'm glad I told the truth. Even though my life is going to change completely after this, after I told the truth, I'm glad I did it because it reveals something fundamentally important about what's going on in our society and how our society is being manipulated. Okay. Now, even though it's not specifically a race thing, gang stalking and the use of weaponized radio frequencies, directed energy weapons, electromagnetic frequencies, all of these things have white supremacist roots in them because they were developed by Nazi scientists. So that's why I keep talking about how gang stalkers are Nazis and all the rest of it. That's why I keep talking about gang stalkers like that, because it literally came from Nazi scientists that were hired by the US. Do you understand what I mean? That's how all this came about. And now the Z words use this technology too via creative intelligence agencies and private intelligence agencies. So we all know who else is using these technologies, right? We all know who else is using gang stalking to basically cull and manipulate the population. So yeah, that's what happened to me. Those videos that you saw, those were of a person that were manipulated by radio frequencies. Do you understand what I'm saying? So for me, I'm glad that I was really, really upset and frightened. And I was upset and frightened, not necessarily because of the sectioning, not necessarily, because of that, but because of the severity of what I had done and what the intent was, because I talked about the intent in the video before that. So I knew the severity of the intent and I knew the severity of the act. And that's why I was crying. I knew how big it was. I knew how awful it was. And that was the thing that scared me. What scared me was me and how much I wanted to do certain things. And again, I can sit here and say, oh, that wasn't me. I was forced to do it by radio frequencies. But I'm going to say, I said it once and I'll say it again. Targeting cannot work with what isn't already there unless you're a spectacularly weak person. And I've never been weak. I have never been weak. Okay. So radio frequencies can influence my emotions to do certain things, but the whole time my logic is going to be screaming at me not to do it. It's going to be screaming at me the whole time. My logic was screaming at me not to do it, but because the radio frequencies had my emotions het up, I ended up doing what I did. And whilst I'm not ashamed of it, I'm not proud of it either, because I know the severity, again, I know the severity of it. I know exactly what it means. I'm not dumb. So, that's why I kind of came online and talked my shit. But there's something else that I want to point out to you guys. There are patterns forming with regards to gang stalking. Now, remember when I told you in the last video that radio frequencies, weaponized radio frequencies, directed energy weapon torture, and EMS were timed according to the time of year? A lot of people have been fucking dying. A lot of people have been dying. Either they've been dying of natural causes, DEWs, or they've been dying by suicide, weaponized radio frequencies again, or they've been died or they've died by being murdered. Again, weaponized frequencies when it comes to the person doing the murdering, right? So weaponized frequencies, DEWs and EMFs are not just killing off targeted individuals anymore. They haven't been doing it, hasn't just been that for a long time. Now we're starting to see celebrities being called off it's like death's going around with a fucking scythe and chopping multiple heads off at once. That's literally what this shit is like. The people who are behind the intelligence services, they are scrambling to cull as many people as possible. But really, really think of it, okay? Really think of this. The reason why there are so many celebrity deaths, and especially of supposedly really, really good people, this is horrible. This is absolutely horrible. But the reason why so many notable people are being killed is to lower the morale of the public. And in particular, people among the public who are black, brown, left-leaning. It takes more than, shouting woke to demoralize us now. It takes more than shouting woke. It takes more than racial slurs. It takes more than inflammatory language to get us outside ourselves like it used to. So now they have to hit us in an alternate way. They have to hit us in a different way by sacrificing people who are supposedly left-leaning, by sacrificing, like Rob Reiner, by sacrificing people like Peter Green. He played a racist character, like I think twice. He played loads of villains, but apparently in real life, he was one of the sweetest, most generous people ever. So killing off Peter Green, killing off fucking, I don't know, I personally think he was killed off, but that's just, you know what I mean? That's just conjecture on my part. I think it's some weird shit going on. I think he was killed off personally. So there's Peter Green, there's, I really shouldn't mention him really, but it's Peter Green, like he was liked by everybody. Let's be real. He was liked by everybody. So there's him, and then there's, who else? Rob Reiner, like I said before, he was apparently liberal and left-leaning. There was that gentleman from General Hospital, Anthony something, I can't remember his name. He played a straight guy in the show, but he was one of our kin in real life. He was with a husband, had a beautiful marriage with him. So that's another instance of morale breaking. Also, the death of Lamar Wilson. My God, out of all of those deaths, that one hurt the most. Lamar Wilson, like this really sweet, cheerful, joyous human being, who died at the age of 48. Yeah. Like lots of health problems, suicide, this, that, and the third. It's not coincidence. None of this is coincidence. All of these deaths are sacrifices towards fascism, and they serve the purpose of decreasing morale in enemies, meaning anyone who supports Palestine, anyone who is left-leaning, anyone who is, basically opposed to Jeffrey Epstein, or opposed to Donald Trump, or opposed to child trafficking or trafficking of any kind. Like that is a deliberate attempt to affect the morale of those on the progressive side of the curtain. That's deliberate. Because they can't get to us through traditional means of being confrontational. Now they're getting to us through our loved ones. And if you're a targeted individual, you will know all about that. I know all about that. If these gang stalkers can't get to me through the traditional methods of the same weapons that I was talking about, then they will go through my loved ones. If they can't get to me, they will go through my mom. They will go through my dad. They will go through like different people that have a significant impact in my life. If they cannot get to me, then they will get to the people in my life. And I'm talking about recruitment as well. There was one time when they tried to recruit me in my sleep, and I told them to fuck off. And they said, because they use induced dreaming and synthetic telepathy as well. I didn't want to talk about this, but fuck it. Everybody thinks I'm crazy anyway. I'm just going to talk about it, right? So there was one time, and I'll never forget this. There was an attempt through my consciousness to recruit me into gang stalking. The dream took place at my grandmother's home. I'm going to continue talking. The dream took place at my grandmother's home, okay? And it was a guy dressed in red, and he had red skin, red horns, right? And he was dressed in a black robe, and he had red eyes, like red irises, right? And I think he had like pink, you know the whites of the eyes, they were pink. So they were pink, his eyes were red, everything was red. It was like one of those colors like you get from like a video game. It's like there's red around the outside, but it's like a pinkish color on the inside. That's what he looked like. And he had like a black cloak. This was in the dream. He said, come join us. Now, at the time, I was living with my father when that dream happened. I was living with my father when that dream happened, but in the dream, I was staying at my grandmother's because sometimes I would stay at hers. And I literally told the demon in the dream to fuck off. I literally told him to fuck off. I didn't just tell him to fuck off. I cussed it. I called him all kinds of bitches and whores and all that kind of all that kind of thing there. Like I called them all kinds of names in a dream, and then they said, "Fine. If we can't get to you, we will get to you through your mother." And when I woke up, isn't that exactly what they did? They didn't just recruit my mother to betray me. They fucking murdered her. So this is exactly what I'm talking about when I say the deaths of these celebrities, especially people who seem to be really good people, who seem to be really liked by everybody, that is deliberately to affect the morale of the public. If good people keep dying, what effect does that have on the psyche of each individual that they touched? Serious question. Serious question, especially if you've got people like Green and fucking Reiner who were loved by both progressives, or well, not progressives, but like who were liked by pretty much everybody. It didn't matter if they were racist, it didn't matter if they were conservative, it didn't matter if they were liberal or what. Like these men were basically unanimously liked by everybody. Lamar Wilson, same thing, liked by pretty much fucking everybody. Like you'd have to be a fucking sociopath to have a problem with Lamar Wilson, right? So these people that everyone likes, these people that everyone values, right? These people that everybody loves being killed off for the sole purpose of fucking morale, of dragging down the morale of the public. And when you drag down the morale of the public, the weaponized frequencies are easier to use on people. They're easier, they're more corruptible. And on top of that, you have to take into consideration that, there's financial problems. And as a direct result of the violence that has been inflicted on black and brown people, there are literal financial problems everywhere. There are financial problems everywhere. Like, the cost of food is way more expensive. Farmers are struggling. All that has an effect. All that has an effect on public morale. And then we've got these weaponized frequencies which are clearly being used, which I can tell because how are there ambulances every 5 minutes that I can fucking hear? And look at the Argus. If you live in Brighton, look at the Argus and see the amount of incidents that are popping up. Aren't they increasing? They're increasing for a reason. It's because of the weaponized frequencies. And that's exactly how they got me. That's exactly how they got me this time. And that's exactly how they got me some years ago where I tried to commit suicide twice. Those are weaponized frequencies. And also there's another incident that I didn't tell you about. I was in the hostel and I made an attempt on my life, like an attempt on my life, I think, I can't remember when it was, but it was during winter when I was staying at the hostel. I think it was in 2020. It was during winter, and I tried to make an attempt on my life because of the weaponized frequencies. The weaponized frequencies were being fired at the fucking hostel. So it wasn't just me that was affected, it was the whole fucking building. And it especially got worse during the winter. This is exactly what I'm talking about when I say these things are timed. And on top of that, that's what happened the last time I tried to commit suicide. The most serious suicide attempt I ever made was when I lived in London and when I lived in Willesden Green. I tried to commit suicide twice in one night. First by drowning, second by overdose. Neither of them worked, right? And those were radio frequencies. All of those are radio frequencies. I'm pretty sure the Romanian family that I lived across the way from, lived next door to, were probably responsible for firing them same frequencies. They tried to fucking kill me because they were already killing me with the DEWs and the EMF weaponry. They literally tried to kill me. That they tried to get me to kill myself. Zertsitzung, augmented with radio frequencies. The same thing that got me to act in a certain way is the same thing that's causing all of this to happen. Now, let me get to me. When I exposed what I did, and I basically incriminated myself with not only intent, but action, the crime, what ended up happening was a lot of things about the gang stalkers ended up being exposed, because where that was concerned, the whole reason why the radio frequencies were augmented was because of the whole thing with Pauline Chung, because I was helping Pauline Chung out. Her gang stalkers decided to get buck with me and try to mess with me. Only they didn't think it was going to go as far as it went, right? But I'm not going to say what could have happened. You all know what could have happened. You all know what could have happened because those radio frequencies were fired at both me and the fucking family. You know what could have happened. I don't need to say it. I don't need to say it. And they were quite happy to endanger the lives of multiple mentally vulnerable people, myself and Emma Logan, and they were willing to fucking endanger children on top of that. And for what? So that they could protect the same people that are protecting nonces and hiring nonces for gang stalking. So that they could protect child traffickers. Now I want you to think, the same thing that they're doing with all these celebrities, damaging public morale, the same thing that they're doing by creating black and brown killers for white racists to rally behind, making sure those black and brown killers targeted children. Really think, what is all that in aid of? All of that is to cover up for nonsense on the far right. Is to make sure that the far right get into power and that their noncery, that they don't pay for their noncery, that they don't suffer consequences for their nonce behavior. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So this is the thing, like if they can get children endangered, are not only endangered, seriously harmed, if they can do that, then they can cover up for nonsense, and not just any nonsense, white supremacist nonsense, Z-word nonsense, which again are white supremacists, because Ashkenazi Jewish people are not the only Jewish people on the planet. Neither are Sephardic Jewish people. You've got Ethiopian Jewish people. They're never ever talked about. You've got Jewish people who are not white. And yet, who are we constantly talking about? The Jewish people that are white. Do you understand? It's white supremacy. It doesn't matter which way you slice it, it's white supremacy. Do you understand? It's white supremacy. And it's plain and simple, plain and fucking simple. Everything that happened to me and happened to that family upstairs, the weaponized frequencies that were being fired at this house, all of it, all of that shit, white supremacy, all of that shit to literally cover up for nonsense, literally cover up for people who raped the children of somebody that I'm friends with. All of that to cover up for nonsense. I was terrified of what was going to happen to me. And truth be told, my life is in danger. My life is in danger because I've talked about these things. But, you know, that's why I was crying. My life's in danger and I know my life is in danger. But looking at that burn on the floor now I'm like, now I realize I'm glad I spoke up, because if I didn't, then people would walk away not knowing that the whole reason that happened was for gang stalkers essentially to protect child traffickers and to protect child abusers and low-key child murderers. Now there's somebody else I knew before I knew Pauline, who knew people, like who knew some really, really unsavory people who, if you can possibly believe it, did shit just as bad as what was done to Pauline's children. Horrible things, awful things. Awful things. And I was on the phone with her today, and me and her were talking, and she pointed out that people were listening to our phone conversation. So as they were listening to our phone conversation, I reminded them, look, are you listening to this? Are you learning? Are you fucking learning something good? Learn not to be cunts all your lives that are endangering children to protect fucking nonsense. And then on top of that, I talked about, it was naughty of me. I talked about a certain tax man. Now, out of respect for one of my TI friends that I haven't spoken to in a long time, I'm not going to tell you what he did. But during my conversation with Pauline, I talked about what he did. I talked about the shit that he fucking did. And 30 seconds, not even 30 seconds after that, like it took about 10 seconds for a drone to show up right in front of everybody. By this time, everybody outside could hear what I was saying on the phone. And they all knew. Me cussing out the gang stalkers on the phone, cussed out the gang stalkers on the phone as I was talking to Pauline Chung, because I knew they were listening in on our conversations. Next thing I know, I hear a drone. That drone comes around and fires me in the head, light shots in the head. Like I said, Pauline's gang stalkers are not smart at all. At fucking all. And they knew I was telling the truth. You know that, like, imagine the kind of truths that I had spoken over that line. Imagine the kind of truths I've spoken over that line. Imagine what kind of truths I was speaking to have a drone showing up 10 seconds after I cussed out those gang stalkers during my conversation with Pauline. You can only imagine the things that I had to say that make them react that quickly. So yeah, now that I'm looking at this burn right here, this is where I'm starting to realize how cooked the gang stalkers really are. More cooked than that fucking carpet. They're fucking cooked. Because I told these people before, I kept telling the gang stalkers, you're protecting some unsavory people, and you're killing me. You're killing me and endangering innocent people to protect nonces and to protect white supremacists. I've been telling them this entire time, and they didn't want to listen to me. They didn't want to believe me. Didn't want to believe me. And don't let bricks fool you either. Don't let bricks fool you either. That's another thing you got to realize. With these radio frequencies and voice to skull and synthetic telepathy and directed energy weaponry, all of this being used on targeted individuals is part of an arms race. Don't be fooled by the Z words and the I words, but don't be fooled by BRICS either. Don't let them fool you either. Don't let any Abrahamic faith, any Abrahamic faith fool you. Don't let anything patriarchal fool you. There are no good guys here because they're all using the same shit. And they're competing with each other to get the best stuff. What do you think the gold race is about? Why do you think there are God knows how many people in Sudan and Rwanda and the Congo fucking dying? There's a gold race. There's a race to get as much gold as possible, to get as much arms as possible. All of this is a part of it. And thank God for Pauline's gang stalkers, because without them, I wouldn't have been able to blow the roof off this fucking thing. Thank God for them and their stupidity, because otherwise nobody would fucking know what the real deal is. Now everyone knows. Now everyone knows I wasn't bluffing. Now everybody gets it. Yeah. Yeah. I was scared because I know I have to be that, you know, things have to be done. Things have to be done. Certain things have to be done. Like, I didn't want to tell the truth. You know, for the first time, I actually wanted to lie and just say, no, that was an accident. No, I didn't mean it. I mean, I really didn't, because it was radio frequencies, right? But like at the time that I said what I said, I meant it. Even if it was radio frequencies weaponized against me, like I meant it at the time. And you know, I wanted to say I didn't mean it. I wanted to say, you know, I didn't mean it like that. I didn't, you know, but now I'm like, no, all of this is orchestrated and it's endangering innocent lives to protect the guiltiest ones. Because in order to have the guiltiest people in the world having power, the most innocent people have to be sacrificed, no? Remember what I said in my videos about magic on Empress Justice Astrology, Empress Justice Magic? In order for the worst people on the planet to live, the most innocent ones have to be sacrificed. That is what I am trying to prevent. I'm trying to cut off the lifeline of evil people who are sustaining themselves on the blood of people who are decent, people who are innocent, people who are kind. That's what I'm trying to prevent. And yeah, my methods are absolutely fucking crazy. Okay, you know, honestly, I'd rather be a crazy person than whatever the fuck gang stalkers are. I'm so sorry. Protecting nonces, protecting child traffickers, like dragging down the morale of the entire planet just so that the worst possible people on the planet can live another day. Nah. Nah. Absolutely not. I'd rather drag down the morale of the fucking Nazis. And that's exactly what I've done. They're fucking scared. They're fucking scared because they realize, like, you know, as brave and as fucking incredible and as strong and as powerful and as intelligent as Pauline Chung is, I am no Pauline Chung. Okay? Everything that has hurt and disenfranchised that poor woman, it's not going to work the same way with me. That's not what's about to happen over here. It's not going to happen like that over here. At all. At all. Because I'm not her. The same things that disenfranchised that woman, the same thing that reduced her into such. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not gonna operate like that with me. I'm trying to tell you, and you ain't listening. I'm not built like that. I'm not built like that. Never been built like that. Because my strategy has always been what? Actually, you know what? Let me not say it. Because fuck them people. And now I gotta go. I gotta eat something, man. But yeah, the gang stalkers, you brought this on yourselves. You're absolutely fucked. Breathtakingly fucked. So am I, but in a different way. But you guys are fucked. You literally did all of this, and for what? To protect nonsense. Enjoy. You know what I mean? And you know, I felt sorry for you guys before. I really felt for you guys before, because a lot of you are parents. A lot of you are parents, but the same way you being a parent was weaponized against me, now you're having to suffer the consequences of that. And you know, there's still a part of me that feels really, really bad about it, but at the same time, like, no, you brought this on yourselves. That's why me incriminating myself matters. So yeah, I gotta go. Washing's almost done, so yeah, I'm gonna go. I'll leave you guys to it. Peace and blessings. I'm gonna get something to eat. And yeah, peace and blessings. Bye.